we are at a historic point where emerging economies account for more than advanced economies in producing world GDP. And it's a trend that looks like it's continuing. And one of the most extraordinary changes that we've seen is that over the past few decades, emerging economies haven't just lifted people out of poverty, they've moved them into the middle class, creating middle-class consumers in emerging economies around the world, from Asia to Africa to Latin America. And this trend really suggests that we are at a point where the world looks very, very different. Now, the challenge for emerging economies is that now that they've become middle income, can they grow rich? That's the search for growth, the next phase of what emerging economies need to do. And very few countries are rich. Only a quarter of the world's countries are high income. So most countries hit what's called the middle income country trap. There's no easy answers for how you overcome that trap, but one of the things to think about is, do emerging economies have good institutions? Are they innovative? Those are some of the key factors create the conditions for continuing the extraordinary growth that we've already seen. It's absolutely key in this current age, so there's different titles being given to it, but the 21st century is characterized by the importance of digital technology. So the big question is, can digital technologies raise innovation in the same way that the innovations of the industrial revolutions like electricity, the internal combustion engine, raise productivity growth? So that is the question that has, I think, generated huge amounts of debate, and the answer will inform whether or not we all face a slow growth future. One of the things that I write about in my book, because a lot of countries do face growth challenges, especially not just emerging economies because they hit the middle income country trap, but advanced economies. To grow, you have to innovate. So can, for instance, the smartphone or driverless cars or things which are apps on the internet, can they raise productivity across the economy? So there's some evidence that some do, and there's some evidence that some don't. But there was one period in history that I write about in my book in the late 1990s when ICT, the computer age, meant that the innovations from computing, personal computing, were incorporated into how firms work. When you change business practices, the innovations did raise productivity in the United States for that one period. And that is the blip that is worth thinking about, because the entire period of the US and advanced economies is slowing productivity growth, except for that one period in the late 1990s. And I think that's the lesson from history we need to learn about to ensure that looking ahead, the innovations of today do boost growth and improve standards of living for all of us.